StrayAllDay.com.
Picking up where we left off, how to escape the matrix. We are on part 2 of what will be, and let me just check myself, what will be a 3-part series. We'll pick up right here on point number 4. If you didn't hear part 1, make sure you check back to the previous episode to hear that. So picking up on point number 4, social media is a hoe, not a housewife. Now, some of you may have never heard that saying before. That is it's a figure of speech that I just used, but if you want to give me credit for it, you can go ahead and give me credit for it. Social media is a hoe, not a housewife. Everybody understands there's a difference between the two things. Yes? Okay. Ladies, you understand it. Yes? Okay. Men, you surely understand this. What it means is, the saying is, well, y'all know what it means. Y'all know what a hoe is, and y'all know what a wife is. Okay. Social media is a Trojan horse that ostensibly allows us to connect with the rest of the world, share our opinions, listen to and engage with other people's opinions, all completely for free. I mean, isn't that what social media does? You can do all this engaging and talk to people and share your stuff for free. Truth of the matter is, social media is not free. All right, you pay for social media with your time, with your attention, with your energy, with your focus, and the opportunity cost of paying with all those things is you can't use those things to do the thing that you probably want to do anytime we're talking about paying and getting paid, which is what? Making money. So while social media is not charging you money, it's charging you all the resources that you would actually use to make money. So it is actually costing you money, albeit indirectly. So why does this matter? The more money that social media makes off of everything that you do, social media, let me back up and say this a different way. Social media makes more money off the stuff that you do, allegedly doing for free, than you make using social media for the most part. For the average user of social media, using it in the average way, social media is making more money off you than you're making off it. That's what makes it a Trojan horse, because you're giving away the resources that will make you money while you're helping it make money at the exact same time. Does everybody understand this? So you're losing in this equation no matter how you engage. For the most part, I'm not saying every single person, every use of social media is a loss for you. For some of us, the use of social media is a win if you're using it strategically. But your use of social media is losing, especially if you're a big consumer on social media. I tell you all the time about being a producer rather than a consumer. Your job with social media is to use it as necessary. If you're a business person, professional, use it to bring people off of the platforms and onto platforms which you control. The platforms being the TikToks, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. Bring them on the platforms which you control, such as on your email list. Never get swallowed up in giving all of your resources to a platform that is monetizing your resources and not paying you back in exchange. That's what social media is. It monetizes your resource. Most important resource social media monetizes is your time. That's how they know exactly how much time you spend on the app. They know everything you do on it. They know what you look at, what you like, how you comment, the DMs that you send, etc. What they do is they take the time that you're spending and their knowledge of how you use the app while you're spending that time. They make that into a formula, also known as an algorithm. Then they go and actually show you more stuff that keeps you more engaged. That's how they get you to spend more and more time. Then they go to the advertisers, and these are the big advertisers, the big companies that have big advertising budgets, who are not doing direct response, meaning they're not measuring how much their advertising is actually making them money back, because they really don't give a damn. And the person who is authorizing it is not spending their own money, so they doubly don't give a damn. They tell them, hey, Amazon, here's how much money you need to spend to advertise to these people, because look how much money they're spending, and much time, they're spending on the app. Amazon says, okay. Amazon writes them a check. They make money. Amazon gets to sell their products to you. You get ads shown to you by Amazon. You don't make anything, but you're giving up all your resources. That's the way social media works. Now, not to mention all social media platforms, connection to the government and anybody being shut down if you have an idea that goes against the grain of what the powers that be want to be said or what they want to be believed. If you don't remember, think back to the virus that we had a few years ago, when certain people who were putting out certain ideas, opinions, beliefs, or information that went against the grain of what the accepted narrative was, were getting their accounts shut down. They were getting themselves limited. They were getting demonetized. Why? Because you had an opinion that they didn't want you to share. And this is what happens when you're on a platform that you don't own, is that you can be shut down just as quickly as you can take off. So just as quickly as you can get 50,000 or 1 million followers, or a piece of content that can go viral, or you get whatever number of likes on your posts, understand with one click of a button, somebody who works at that company can shut your whole situation down. So please do not get so excited about anything that's happening on a social media app. Understand that it can all go away just as quickly as it showed up, and you have zero control over making or whether or not it goes away. but you had to do a whole lot of work to make it show up in the first place. So be very careful. And this is why social media is a Trojan horse. And it's a big part of the matrix. And one of the things that makes it a matrix is that you must stay plugged into it. Many of you feel as if you have to stay plugged into it in order to be connected to what's happening in the world, to your quote unquote friends, to making sure other people know what's happening with you. Why that matters to you, I don't know. You have your own reasons. All this is part of the matrix. And I'm not telling you that you necessarily need to stop using social media. I use social media probably more than most of you who listen to the show. However, I understand that it's part of the matrix, and I understand that I could be kicked off or unplugged from that matrix at any time based on the things that I say, this point right here being one of them. And I am prepared to leverage my other platforms that I have control over, much more control over than social media, should anything happen with any social media platform to me or to any accounts or profiles that I have control over or that I own. Moving on to point number 5. Today's topic, once again, is how to escape the matrix, part number 2. Number 5 is the financial system. Now, I'm not telling you to stop having money. All right, the financial system, money is a big part of the financial system. I'm not telling you to not have money or spend money or use money. Financial system is ostensibly designed to keep people trapped in employment where you can make enough money to where you won't quit, but not enough money to where you could quit and be independent of the job. This is how financial systems work. And it is designed this way. This is not something that just randomly happened. And even though it's designed this way, many people are not aware of the setup. The people who own the companies that we have worked for are getting rich through a whole different set of rules than how you may be aiming to get rich, such as through collecting your checks. All right, going to work every day and collecting your check is not the way that the people who own the companies that all of us work or have worked for, that is not the way they make their money. Now, you should think about why that is. They're telling you, come get this check, go to work every day, work this much time to get this much of a check, and you're okay with that. They are making their money in a completely different way. Why don't they make their money the same way? Well, they don't make their money the same way because they're playing a different game than you. Now, then you should ask yourself the question, because there's a legitimate pushback to that. Well, Dre, just because somebody's playing a different game to me doesn't mean that their game is better than my game. Maybe my game is better than their game. This is true. But now ask yourself this question. The person who owns the company that you work for, they bring in enough money to where they can not only pay you your paycheck, but also the paycheck of all your coworkers, and they still have money left over for profit. Now ask yourself a question. Are you making enough money to where you could do that? If the answer is no, then it looks like their game is probably working better than yours. If the game is how much money can you bring in and how much money can you keep? Looks like they're winning on both fronts. Does everybody understand this? Now let me explain this even further. A lack of financial education is baked into the educational system that I had trashed earlier in this series. I've already trashed the educational system many times in the past, not just in this series, and I'll trash it a little bit here today, and I will trash it again in the future, and I will continue to trash it as long as it currently exists, continues to exist. The educational system teaches you nothing about personal finance. It teaches you very little about money, and what it does teach you about money is often a whole bunch of bullshit. Why? Because the system is designed this way. The system doesn't want you to know too much about money, because if you knew as much as you should know about the financial system in the United States of America and you were learning it in school, let's say from elementary ages on up, then many of you probably would not have the professional situation that you currently have. I'll go as far as to say it that way. The professional situation you have right now, you probably would not have it. I'm talking Americans, the American educational system. Why? Because if you got that financial education early, you would probably say, okay, well, then going to work for someone else is probably the lowest common denominator way for me to make money. So let me not do that. Let me figure out a different way to do it. Okay, let me go take a class that may teach me how to do it a different way. Let me demand that my college options teach me a different way. Let me go read some books that will teach me a different way. Let me go ask my parents, why aren't they teaching a different way? Maybe I'll interrupt my teacher or professor in class and ask them, why don't they talk to us about doing this a different way? Maybe I get together with all of my peers in college during our free time, and instead of studying for this calculus test, how about we talk about ways that we could position ourselves to make money outside of the financial matrix of employment? And because of that, all of that grooming, by the time you're 21, you will have a whole different outlook on how you're going to make money in your life. But since they don't give you that information, most people get out of school, they get a degree, or you don't have a degree, diploma, GED, whatever you got, and you go look for employment. And when that employment's up, you go get another one. When that's done, you go get another one, and live happily ever after until it's time for you to retire. This is the way the system is designed. Now, why does the system care that it's like this? It cares that it's like this because, again, They pay you enough money that you don't quit, but not so much money that you can quit. That's the design of the system. Now, maybe some of you make enough money that you can quit. I'm not saying every single person, but the design of the system. If you look at the average person going through the system, is this not the way it is set up? The answer is yes, it is. Those of you who do make enough money to where you can quit, look around most of the people that you work with, most of the people that you serve, most of the people that you know. Do I have this right or do I not have it right? Okay, all of you know, if you know anything about the system, you know this is the way that it works. Now, I did an entire episode explaining to you what school does not teach. And let me see if I can pull that episode. That was episode number 3309. I told you what school does not teach and also explained to you why school does not teach it. And that's where I went into depth with this point that I'm explaining to you right here. There is an incentive baked in and a incentive and baked in reason why certain things do not get taught to the masses of people in schools. And I just explained to you, they don't explain to you financial education because you would not go into the system looking for work if you knew what the people who run the system know about work, because they don't go looking for work. What they do is go find other people who want to work, put them to work, pay you X, and they make X plus some. And that's the reason that they are able to profit off of your efforts. Very simple. This is a very simple equation. Your job is to find out what are the things that don't get taught in school. And also it'd be good for you to find out, well, why didn't they teach me this? What is the reason why they don't want me to know this? So why are you being miseducated by the quote unquote educational system? Again, listen to episode 3309 where I break this down in detail. And your job is to go get this information on your own volition. If you were not lucky enough to either A, have parents who understood this and told it to you at home, or B, be around peers of yours who understood this and they told it to you, so you just picked it up by association with your friends. If you don't have either one of those, then now that I just told you, consider me a friend. You go out and you start getting this information. Where do you start? I would start by going to your favorite source of books, whether that be Amazon or your local bookstore. I would suggest you go find 10 books. No, let me not be too ambitious for you. Let me say 5. Even if you're not ambitious at all, we can even say 3. 3, 5, or 10 books on finance. Go to the finance section. Go find books that are about personal finance. I'm not talking finance like them explaining the entire system. You could read one of those, but I'm talking about books that are about personal finance, such as you can start with a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. You can go to a book called, what the hell is the name of that guy's book? I forgot the name of his book, but I'm going to look it up right now. While you are actually, one of them I remember the author, but I don't remember the name of his book. And then it was a book, but I don't remember the author, but I'm going to solve both of those problems. So you're going to go look up Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That's number 2. And the other one is The Millionaire Next Door. I remember this book, but I forgot the author's name. This author is named, actually it's 2 authors. They are, I can barely read on the cover of the book, Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko. So The Millionaire Next Door, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. You can start with just those 3 books. And these books are not about making you a millionaire, even though they both have, 2 of the books have millionaire in the title. That's not what it's about. And it's not necessarily about you being quote unquote rich, whatever you consider rich to be. But if you end up a millionaire and or rich, that wouldn't be bad, would it? Those 3 books help you understand basis understandings of personal finance, how this stuff works and why it's designed a certain way and why the information is not given to you in school. And which is why you got to go get these books. These books will never be assigned to you in school unless you have a rogue professor who is allowed to give these out. And if it goes on a curriculum and somebody with power finds out, they're going to say, yeah, can't teach that one. Can't make them read that one. You can tell them about it, but nope, can't tell them to read that one. And as you read them, you'll start to understand. And there are many others. I would say some books by Napoleon Hill. I would give you a basic Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I would also give you Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I would give you, The Soul of Money. What is that gentleman's name? I believe his name is Morgan Housel. The book is called The Soul of Money, S-O-U-L, The Soul of Money. Read that one. There's 5 for you right there. Just start with those 5. As you read those 5, you're going to, if you read them, you actually read the books. You're going to get curious and you're going to start looking for other books and you'll find more on your own volition. You only need to come to me. Once you read those 5, you'll be open-minded enough to read others. If you read all 5 of those books, like literally read them, not buy them, read them. Everybody got that? Point number 6. And actually, let me back up before I get into point number 6. All right, this is the reason why you got to get out of the matrix. because none of what I just gave you is going to be provided to you through matrix controlled sources. Your school teachers and college professors work in the matrix. They're not going to give you these. And frankly, many of your school teachers and college professors have not read these books. That's one of the reasons why they work in the matrix. Or because they work in the matrix, they haven't read these books. Either way, they haven't read the fucking books. You need to read these books if you want to escape the matrix. Or I'm not even telling you that you need to quit your job and become an entrepreneur. What I'm saying to you is that you need to have the mental fortitude to escape the matrix, which means you need to understand things. Anybody could, technically, you could walk out of the matrix today if you want to. You could just tell your boss you quit and walk out of the office right now if you wanted to. I'm not telling you to do that. What I'm saying is you have to have the mental fortitude to understand why you're escaping the matrix, that you're in a matrix, and that it needs to be escaped. If you don't understand those things, then nothing that I'm saying here will even matter to you. Point number 6. Today's topic, once again, is part 2 of our 3-part ongoing series, How to Escape the Matrix. Point number 6 is celebrities and entertainment. Yes, celebrities and entertainment are part of the matrix. And I'm not saying that celebrities and entertainment are necessarily bad people or that they're doing anything inherently bad towards you. Listen, I'm a fan of some celebrities, some actors, some musicians, etc., as are you, I'm pretty sure. At the same time, I don't give too much of my resources to these people. And one part of being in the matrix is when you're giving too much of your resources to celebrities and entertainers. That's part of being in the matrix. Why? Because every ounce of resource you give to them, they are monetizing those resources for their own purposes, while you are getting nothing back except in maybe some entertaining experience. But they're making more off of it than you're making off of it, which goes right back to the same thing I said about social media. This is part of the matrix. When you're giving away more than you are bringing back, you are losing. Everybody understands simple mathematics, right? This is algebra. Most of you did pretty good in algebra. I wasn't too good at calculus. I had to take it, signed up for the class 4 times in college before I graduated with a D, as in disappointing. But I understand algebra pretty well. All right, so this is one of the ways that the matrix has you under their control. I figure out, I'm going to tell you what to do. You should do the same thing that I do here. Most of the things that I tell you here, you don't even have to necessarily, well, let me just say it first. You don't have to necessarily listen to what I say. You can just do what I do. But most of you don't know what I do because you're not with me on a 24/7 basis. So I tell you what I do. All you had to do is copy the things that I do when it comes to these certain things, if the points that I'm making make sense to you. Now, if you disagree with my points, you have a right to. Not a right to, excuse me. You are free to. But if you agree with my points, just listen to me telling you what I do, and then you can just follow it. All right, simple as that. Now, I figure out how I can use an entertainer or a celebrity. Maybe a quote, a line from a song that I like, something that motivates or inspires me during a workout, I will use it. I was working out this morning. I was in the boxing gym, and I had my headphones on. I was listening to music. Coming from who? Entertainers. All right, so I appreciate them for fueling me partially during my workout this morning. That's the extent of my engagement. All right, do not allow yourself to become an idolater of some celebrity just because they are famous, and or because you share a skin color with this person, and or you're of the same nationality, or you have the same religious following of this person, whatever it is. Even if they made your favorite song, you can like the song. You can like them. Maybe go to their concert once or twice, but not too much. All right, don't get too deep into the sauce. Make sure you're using them more than they're using you. This is what it comes down to, folks. It may sound a little bit Machiavellian, a little bit dark psychology, and I hope you think that, because I'm a fan of Machiavelli and I'm a fan of dark psychology. And those things are both based in pragmatism. For those of you who don't know what pragmatism is, it means looking at the world as it is rather than how it should be, and making your adjustments based on how things actually are rather than how you think they should be. In other words, if you think it's bad that some people will lie, cheat, and steal, that's fine if you think that. But at the same time, you shouldn't operate your life based on some theory that nobody lies, cheats, or steals. You should base your life around the belief and understanding that people will lie, cheat, and steal, even though you think it's not a good thing to do. That's pragmatism. This is how it actually is. Okay, it sucks that it's like this, but this is how it is. So let me make my adjustments based on how it is. It's terrible if somebody was to steal something that doesn't belong to them, but since you know that people will do that, you lock your doors. That's pragmatism. All right, so in case any of you don't understand. The whole point of this, folks, of the entertainment industry, is to get you so focused on the entertainer and cheering on their success and basically living vicariously through the entertainer that you forget about your own life. You forget about your own goals and the things that you're supposed to achieve. And let me remind you, most of your favorite entertainers are not going to remind you that, hey, you're supposed to be living your life, not following mine. No, they rather you follow theirs, because the more you follow theirs, the more they can leverage you. They can leverage you for their own success. So any celebrity that you're cheering for the most part, they don't give a damn about you. They don't know your name. They don't know about your kids. They don't care about how you're going to pay your bills or not, for the most part. Have you ever seen one of them at your show or in your comments celebrating, arguing in defense of you, or worshiping you in any way, shape, or form? For the answer for 99% of you, with 99% of the people who you like, the answer is no. Again, it doesn't mean you don't have to listen to their music anymore. It doesn't mean you need to throw away their albums, or you got one of their t-shirts, or you're a fan, you need to unfollow them on Instagram. You can still support, if you want to call it support, being a fan, et cetera, et cetera. But make sure that the equation is looking right. All right, make sure the equation is looking right. That means you're not giving more than you're getting. You don't owe your resources to anyone who's not giving any resources to you. All right, you use them and don't get used by them. That's how the matrix works. You get used, but you're not using back, and that's how you end up in the matrix. And all these aspects that I've been talking about so far in this series, that's what's happening. You're getting used, but you're not using back. That's a problem. All that said, let's recap today's class. It's part 2 of our ongoing series, How to Escape the Matrix. Number 4, social media is a hoe, not a housewife. That means you use it as necessary. Do not build a family or try to build a long-term life with it. Number 5, the financial system. The financial system is designed to keep you ignorant and not tell you certain things that you will not learn in school. This means you must learn it independently and on your own volition. Any of you who has not gone to a bookstore or to Amazon or read books or got any enrichment training or learning outside of your formal education, you are being kept ignorant by only being plugged into the matrix and stupidly believing that just because you went to school, you have all the knowledge, information, and quote unquote education you need. You have nothing. Make sure you get your information outside of whatever school is teaching. And point number 6 is celebrities and entertainers. They are designed, I don't mean them as people, but the celebrity entertainment world is designed to keep you plugged in and engaged with what people who you don't even know are doing, so that you can live vicariously through them while forgetting to live your actual life yourself. And they don't give a damn about that, because they are leveraging your life and you're not leveraging it. So you got 2 people focused on the celebrity in you, and nobody focused on you. All right, that's a problem in the long term. Tomorrow, we're going to go into part 3 of this series of how to escape the matrix. I'm just pointing out these pieces of the matrix that some of you are plugged into, don't even realize that you're plugged in. Good news is now you can get out. Your next step inside of Work on Your Game University, so that you can start creating your own matrix of a world, and you can start helping people in your matrix to where you're giving them the game, helping them move forward, and helping yourself all at the same time. That's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all